Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, DJ Adam Cruz, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host right here,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and DYMusicRadio.com.
Right.
We're here. What's up, Adam?
Oh, I'm so delighted to see you again.
Likewise.
Let us take a moment and let our listeners and our viewers know that the Freedom Radio Hour is here, not only giving you fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. All right, so let's jump right out in front. 2018 is shaping up to be a stellar year already in terms of the music business news. Let's do a quick recap of a few things that if you're an independent artist, we're going to be telling you some things to look out for in the 2018, but also we're going to be discussing what I call an artist checklist. Okay. I know you'll love to hear about this. So let's first break it down. Here are some things to look out for in the 2018. Number one, do you remember we were talking about this value gap problem? Remember how YouTube makes a bunch of money on the backs of subscriptions and advertising? They pay a certain portion of royalties to artists, but it's only a fraction of the amount of money that they make from the advertisement. So there's a gap in terms of the money that YouTube makes from ads and subscriptions versus how much they pay out to the artists for the music that they're exploiting, right? So Europe is supposed to be looking over this last summer. Now in the 2018, they have yet to issue their official findings about, number one, what is the real culprit behind this value gap problem? I mean, we know the obvious around this ads and subscription dollars versus what they pay. We know that much. But how did it come to pass that this occurred? How can they address it? And then how do they deal with things in the future when similar problems arise? None of these findings have been reported out or have been published yet.
And of course, I see it as because if they really do what's best for the interest of the artist, then that would be taking away from the pot of the shareholders and those other people that are invested. So until they can come up with some type of concept that reconfigures and sends the money appropriately to where it should be, because to me, shareholders should not be making more money than those people that are the writers and the producers of the original content.
Well, you make a great point, because it sounds like whatever the decisions are regarding this problem, they haven't really fully flushed out what that is. So much so that they haven't figured out how to make the decision and keep appeasing their stakeholders, to your very point. I think that's probably the biggest reason why we haven't seen a compelling report from the European Commission around this problem with YouTube value gap. So in 2018, you rest assured that this is going to come up and will bubble over, because it's been too long now where this problem has been occurring. Again, if you don't check your conglomerates, they will continue becoming bigger and more consolidating of their powers, and you have less leverage when they do that.
And let's hope that the stakeholders that should be sitting at the table, those people that represent your royalties, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, all of those places, that they are sitting at that table figuring out a better negotiable scale to make sure that artists are getting more of the lion's share as opposed to others getting the lion's shares, and we're still getting a mere pittance of a fraction of a penny.
And to that very topic, the next thing to think about for 2018 is an ongoing lawsuit regarding Spotify. You remember how we were talking about this? The big problem that Spotify is facing now in terms of their lawsuits is this. Spotify is streaming. So they pay one kind of royalty for that streaming ability. That's called a digital performance royalty, right?
But which is blanket.
Right, yes. But what happens is Spotify, if you from your phone, they give you the ability to download that stream onto your phone. So now download means mechanical royalties. So the lawsuit has been filed to sue Spotify to say, because you offer this feature from your phone, the downloadable feature, then you should pay two types of royalties: the digital performance, which is the stream, and the mechanical royalty, which is the download.
That you have the right to sell it.
Correct. Well, Spotify is saying, we will always be a streaming outfit. We do offer this feature. We don't deny that. However, that's just an extension of the streaming experience that you have. So therefore, beat it, person who's suing us, because we feel we only will pay the one.
The one.
But the opponent who filed the lawsuit has said, wait a minute, you have in the past have settled out of court fines related to both digital performance and mechanical. So you, by doing that, have virtually admitted that you owe.
This set the precedent.
Right. You owe that. So in 2018, be aware that not only Spotify, I wouldn't be surprised if you would see lawsuits that are filed against other streaming outfits that offer this downloadable feature from the phone, because they too are not paying the two royalties that they ought to be paying by law. They're paying one kind of royalty.
And the most important thing is that by you downloading that, you are paying them another fee to download that feature and to download that song. So while you're streaming, you may be paying for that stream, you're paying for that monthly stream. Now you want to download that feature, and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to download that feature from that particular app or that site. So,
well, I think it's a good thing to think about, because while that's not occurring right now, you rest assured that later on, if Spotify has had to pay out these kinds of settlement, they're going to have to beef up their prices to account for this added cost. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk about more regarding the 2018 and what's happening that you should be aware of here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan. Radio.com.
Come back.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people? I'm Eddie Nicholas, and welcome back to Freedom Radio Hour. We're so glad that you have decided to come back and join us, and I'm sitting here with the most knowledgeable
Hardly.
person that I personally know in the music industry, the one and only Mr.
Adam Cruz. You're in the zone right now on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one we're your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe.
Yes.
See, you make me laugh, but then I mess up the cue.
That's okay.
Anyway, before we broke, we were talking about the latest goings on regarding the music business news in 2018. Things to look out for. YouTube's value gap problem. You want to look at the Spotify lawsuits that relate to you as an independent artist. Why? Because they only want to pay one kind of royalty when they should be paying two. Moving on from there, one of the biggest stories that you should be aware of in 2018 is net neutrality. Net neutrality is the principle that your internet service providers, they treat the data that you transmit on the internet equally. They don't engage in either of these three things: paid prioritization, throttling, or blocking. What does that mean? The ISPs have agreed up until now that they will not engage in paid prioritization. That means if if I'm the ISP, the internet service provider, Eddie's a company, he pays me, and what I do is I put his data transmission on the internet first, paid prioritization over the others. Why? Because he paid me more than the others, or he paid me instead of the others, right? The other things that ISPs promised up until now was that they wouldn't engage in throttling. That means you don't want to block or slow down, okay? So that's a big deal. But right now, what you need to be aware of is net neutrality is completely being changed under our new administration and under the guise of the head of the FCC. His name is Ajit Pai. Mr. Pai is all about fulfilling the agenda from our current administration here in the States. That means that net neutrality norms are falling to the wayside already. The ISPs are chomping at the bit to create what's called fast lanes. That means the more you pay, your data gets transmitted on sort of an express lane of data transmission.
Now, but my question with that, when you look at the internet services that's provided by people like Verizon and all of those and Comcast, they kind of already have that going on, if you ask me, with things like their little quantum leap and all that, which is supposed to be you pay a couple extra more dollars and you get faster internet service. So those services are already in place, but they're by choice if you choose to opt to pay for those things, which is separate from what net neutrality promises to provide is the consistent area of operation for those of us who want to use the internet to be able to use it uncompassed.
Well, I think that's a great thing to realize. I think the biggest takeaway here is that unlike just these sort of general packages that most ISPs offer you, right? This is taking the companies, we're talking about huge corporations that have aligned themselves with one ISP over another. And what now they're able to do, thanks to the FCC's change in their position around net neutrality, is they can say, okay, we're going to make your stuff come through the internet faster and slow down the others. And why does that matter to you and I? Because it creates a bottleneck of data transmission on the internet, where after a while, all of this favoritism that is occurring based on what you pay is creates a bottleneck of transmitting information for the rest of us who aren't on the payroll of these conglomerates, right? So net neutrality is very important. Not only that, what they're also doing is putting to the wayside these lifeline programs that basically subsidize rural communities, poor communities. Think about schools.
Look at that little slow walking man in there screech.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And what
connection.
Yes, so what they're doing through this Lifeline program is subsidizing telecommunications portals, providing data transmission, internet access to rural communities, poor communities, school districts, and the like.
That cannot afford to pay.
Exactly, that's the key. They can't afford to swing it on their own. They can't pay for the fast lane. They can't pay the dollars that say other big conglomerates can pay. But there's this program that basically helps them to keep up with the way that the data is transmitting today. This goes beyond the regular packages that you and I were just talking about. But thanks to the switch in net neutrality norms, in 2018, what you will be experiencing is this very thing, a bottlenecking of information that's being transmitted on the internet. And also, the keys to the castle, if you will, are being handed to the most powerful. And all that means is that you're creating an oligarchy. Oligarchs are being established all over the hemisphere between politics, music companies, telecommunications outfits, and government. You have to be aware that this all means that you have to let your voice be heard.
And I love that word.
What?
Oligarchs. I love that word. I love that word.
Why do you love the word oligarch so much?
It just sounds so, I'm the oligarch.
Yes, yeah.
I'm the head in charge.
Yes, but that means that you get, because you're the head in charge, I lose if I'm the peasant, if you will. If I'm the rest of the folks that are
peasants.
not. Yeah, if we're not a part of the oligarchy, then what we do is we have to pay for them to be the most powerful.
And we get shoved the little bits and pieces that are shoved from their table.
But we have to be careful. This is why we have to let our voice be heard. In 2018, the key word here is let your voice be heard. Let's take a break. We'll come right back here on the Freedom Radio Hour, your #1 source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, DWildMusicRadio.com. Freedom Radio Hour.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at DWildMusicRadio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your #1 source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. I'm here with my fantastic co-host,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome back. We're going to jump right into it. What is going on as we wind up this evening's program?
Yes, we need to get into our artist checklist. 2018 is the perfect time to do what they call that spring cleaning. Even though it may not be spring yet where you live, it's important to take a notice and inventory of the things that are going on in your business of music. All right, so I'm talking to you if you're an independent musician or an artist and you're releasing material in some way or another. Here's a few things you need to do. Take out a pen and pad or write this down, or make sure you make note of it somewhere so that you can recall this later on. Okay, first thing out of the gate, you want to take inventory of the product and the catalog and the music that you have on your hard drive or in your computer. All right, that music's going to be separated into 3 piles. 1, music I've released, music that I'd like to release, and music that I'm no longer interested in releasing. Once you've established that pile of material, your next thing is to take the ones that you've released already and match them to the labels that you released them on. After you do that, your job is to write an email after the end of the year or at the top of the new year or what have you. Every year you do this. You write an email, very friendly like, to all the labels that release your material. Say, hi, this is the end of the year now. I'm just doing some cleaning. I need a statement of the royalties I earn from the release of the song, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the title is of the song that you released on that label. Repeat that exercise for all of the labels that you released music on. If you didn't release music on any labels but your own, say through TuneCore or Bandcamp or whatever mechanism you chose, your job is to go through the analytics. That's the fancy way of saying that shows you all of the sales related to your song. And what you want to do is you want to be able to answer some very fundamental questions to the next person, to the person that's standing next to you. Let's say the person says, Eddie, how many downloads did you sell in 2017? You want to be able to say, I sold blah. If you don't know that answer, you need to do your due diligence, your homework, and go and open up all of the accounts where you know you have material released or that you have information about downloaded material, and take a stock. Okay, I released Mary Had a Little Lamb, that sold 50 downloads. That made me
X amount of dollars.
$20, whatever that figure is for you. Okay, save it. Next, do the next song and so on. Your job is to understand your business. From there, you want to make sure you sign up. If you haven't already with your ASCAP BMI, you want to go in, log in, and then include those titles. You need to follow the directions according to the performance rights organizations that you're a part of. I'm a part of ASCAP and CSAC. You're a part of
ASCAP.
ASCAP. So our jobs is to go on our accounts regarding ASCAP and CSAC and to enter all of the titles that we released material on. That's number 2. Number 1, take inventory of the music in your hard drive or in your collection.
Oh, and that also includes the digital ones, Sound Exchange as well too. Yes.
Yes. Second, make sure that you are aware that you're hitting up the labels that have released music and ask them for an accounting. That's a statement of the royalties that are due to you based on the deal that you sign. For many of us, we sign some sort of 50-50 deal, which means that for every dollar, I make 50 cents minus the charges. So just be aware of that. And also, as an artist, it's definitely time to make a plan throughout the year. At the end of the new year, you shouldn't be still planning, what am I going to do for this year? Take the time now and plan that out. So if you want to appear at a summer festival, for example, you should be planning that now. If you'd like to appear at the new school year's functions, they usually start in September, you should start that now. Why? Because you want to give everyone involved enough time to know that you're interested, what you can do. You need to follow up and stay on top of this so that your dreams can manifest based on what you like. So that's the third item. Write your goals down. You need goals for the new year. So maybe that might be performing at a summer festival. Maybe that might be appearing on the Freedom Radio Hour one time. Maybe that might be, you know, attending X amount of events in your area per year or per month or whatever that is for you. So number 3, set goals. All of the things you like to do. Remember our episodes. If not, we always post them on our website at freedomradiohour.com and on YouTube. And you're free to peruse and browse through all of our episodes and gauge the things that are most important to you. Like for 2018, I got to put you on the spot. What do you think your biggest thing that you have to do better on is? What is that big thing?
Oh, be more responsive in getting songs completed and done in a timely manner.
Add that to your list.
Add that, manifestation of things to occur.
And this speaks to that list. Remember I said when you take the music, divide it into 3 piles, the stuff you've released, the stuff you'd like to release, and the stuff you're no longer interested in releasing. That middle pile of the things you'd like to release, this is what Eddie's speaking about. The material you like to work on, what do you need to do to get it done, to complete it, to get it out to release, to the market. That's a very good point. So you think that, what is another thing is the biggest problem that you're facing? Completing the tracks, completing the songs, okay.
Basically, the networking and getting out to make sure that you're out there doing a strong network system that, as Adam said, if you want to perform at certain places, you let them know of your interest. And a lot of times you either make it happen yourself or you go and you do a gig for free or two.
Well, I think the biggest things too is like give enough notice for these events. Oftentimes, the events have been advertised and it's nearing the event.
And we come in at the end.
Yeah, talking about, can you let me, and I'd be mad when we don't get the opportunity. If you gave them enough time, you'd be surprised what will happen. I think another thing to be aware of is not just the timing of things, but also like your stick-to-itiveness. It's always nice to make it, you know what they always say, in your New Year's resolution when you join the gym, chances are you're not going to stay at that gym until the end of the year. So you should find something that you're going to stick to. So maybe you're not able to do all of these things all at once, but if you could stick to one task at a go, complete it, and then the next, that's chiseling away at your artistry. All of this helps in increasing your bottom line and making you more aware of your own music business. That's all the time we have.
Wait a minute, I just got one more little thing to say. Make sure everything that you do as a performing artist, make sure that you record it.
Yes.
Regardless of what it is, whether it's a rehearsal, definitely record your live performances if you have the opportunity to do so. I say this because a lot of times people and artists are credited with their live performances. I know CSAC is one of those organizations that if you perform and do a live performance, that you are credited if you are the performer and you wrote the song.
Right.
That you get compensation for that. So record everything in this day and age. People want to see a visual. They want to be able to go to where you're located. So join those YouTubes, join those social media pages and all of that stuff that allows people to have access. And also make sure that you check back with the sites and the organizations that you are registered, because I do know, again, with CSAC, BMI, and ASCAP, they have venues where you can place your videos and your works and your performances up there to share with other people.
And they provide updates, and you should be aware of that. Great. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Freedom Radio Hour. Definitely post a comment under everything we're posting at freedomradiohour.com. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, check out EddieNicholas.com for his fantastic music. Check out DJAdamCruz.com for more
his fantastic music.
And have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, we have a free app. Search us out, Freedom Radio Hour, for Google Play and within the App Store. All right?
Peace and love. 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, DWildMusicRadio.com, and the FreedomRadioHour.com, y'all. Peace and love.
Just a little taste of, just a little taste of your love. Just a little taste of, just a little taste. Just a little taste of your love.